Hi, I'm Dara, and this is a Right Way. I want to take a minute to talk about writer's block and different tools that you can use to push past it. So, oftentimes, as I mentioned before in one of my previous videos about what you should write and why write in the first place, we start off on a script idea and it's burning inside of us and we just can't wait to get started. And it's so easy to push through the first couple of pages and you get those sparks and you're all inspired and then you look up and you're running out of steam and you say, okay, I'm done for today. I'll revisit this tomorrow. And then tomorrow spills into the next day and you look up, a week has passed, you haven't even come back to the script. And then by the time you get back around to it, maybe it's 2 weekends later, you glance at it on some random Saturday morning and you're like, okay, I don't know where to even start. You spend more time rewriting what you've already written, and you're not truly making progress. So, I think one of the most important tools that I use to push past writer's block is the resisting, and it's not easy, the urge to continuously edit yourself as you go and making a commitment that I'm going to just continue to write. Oftentimes, people call the first draft the vomit draft because you're just getting all of your ideas out. And it's not like you have high expectations that this thing is going to be perfect. You just want to actually finish it. So, in order to get to the finish line, there's going to be some compromise. You may even push past visible typos as you just continue to go, just trying to get that story out of your system. So, making a commitment, number one, that you won't re-edit everything. That's an important step. Another important step to push past writer's block is to sometimes actually take a little break from the story. And I don't mean an extended break, like 2 or 3 weeks off of the script, but maybe you've been staring at the computer for quite some time and you need to get up and stretch your legs or take a walk around the block, and do something to rejuvenate yourself. Maybe if it's just listening to your favorite song once and that kind of puts you in the mood back into the story. Miniature breaks can actually help spark new ideas and get you back on the right track. Another thing that also helps with writer's block is continuing to keep the story in the back of your mind throughout the course of your day. So even if you're doing something like washing your dishes, maybe, you're, scrubbing a pot and an idea sparks into your mind and you just can't wait to get back to it. Allowing yourself to be one with the story, even as you go about mundane routines. That's another way to continue to stay on track. And most of all, you have to kind of be your own motivating coach. So, in times when you feel self doubt, wondering, because writer's block can also be an extension of imposter syndrome. Like, am I good at this? Is this okay? Is this story just complete garbage? What am I doing here? To push those thoughts down and think to yourself, all right, you can't really analyze if a story is good or bad. Personally, as a writer, obviously you're too close to it. And once again, art is so subjective that there's almost an audience for everything if you can just manage to finish it. So instead of critiquing yourself, instead just focus on the milestones. Hey, I finished 2.5 pages on this script today. Now, that is a milestone. If you keep going at that pace, in about 2 months, you'll be done. And I also find that it's helpful if you can carve out a consistent schedule, even if it's early in the morning, late at night, on your lunch break, whatever it is, if you can just stay consistent and make a commitment to writing, much like how people may make a commitment to going to the gym at a certain time every day because that helps keep them on track on their fitness journey. So writing is very much in the same vein, and consistency certainly makes things flow better. I find that when I start a script, if I'm able to stay consistent on schedule, that the more days and weeks they go by that I'm working on it, the easier it comes out. So those writer's block moments just slip away and fall away. And next thing I know, I'm like, okay, I'm halfway done with this. And you look up and you're nearing the finish line just a few weeks later, and you've got this script that, okay, is it a vomit draft? Is it, the next best movie? You can't really know for sure, but it's very important to actually just finish it. So sometimes when I start a script, another thing that works for me is that I don't tell anybody that I'm working on it, especially if it's a spec script and I wasn't hired to write it and I'm writing it on my own. I keep it a secret because I find that if I tell people that I'm working on a new script and they're constantly asking me about it and I haven't made as much progress as I'm comfortable sharing, then I feel like I'm letting myself down. And that might be another barrier to me actually finishing the script. So oftentimes I move in silence and just work on it on my own. And then when I'm further along or I've actually finished that first draft, now I'm ready to share. So keeping it a secret is helpful for me. But you may find it's just the opposite. By sharing with others, that may actually dial up the accountability factor. And when someone asks you, maybe you can look at them with pride and say, yeah, I'm about halfway done, because you're actually making progress, and having people check in is helpful. So everybody's different and you have to find what works for you. But for me, consistency is the key. Also, sometimes keeping it a secret and just getting started so that everybody doesn't have to know, but you know. And that's the most exciting thing, because as you continue on that script and you make that progress, it's going to be very rewarding to finish it. And that's step number one. Everybody talks about how writing is rewriting, but before you can even get to that, you actually have to finish it. So those are my favorite tools to push past writer's block, and I hope that it's helpful for you. Thank you so much. And remember, it's better to get started today than tomorrow. Keep writing.